Something is hiding at the edge of our solar system. Something massive. Something cold. Something that has been bending the orbits of distant worlds for millions of years. And we still cannot see it. Astronomers have a name for it. They call it Planet 9. In January of 2016, 2 researchers at Caltech released a paper that quietly shook the scientific world. Konstantin and Mike Brown were studying the strange behavior of objects in the Kuiper Belt, that frozen graveyard of rock and ice beyond Neptune. And what they noticed was impossible. A handful of these distant objects were not moving randomly. Their orbits were clustered, tilted, pulled in the same direction, as if something was tugging on them from the dark. Something with a gravitational pull 10 times stronger than Earth. But here is the problem. In every telescope ever pointed at that region of space, there is nothing there. At least, nothing we have been able to find. To understand why scientists are so certain Planet 9 exists, you have to understand what it is doing to the objects we can see. Out in the Kuiper Belt, beyond Pluto, lies a population of frozen worlds called trans-neptunian objects. Most of them follow predictable, gentle paths around the Sun. But a small group, roughly 13 of them, behave very differently. Their orbits are extreme, stretched into long, narrow ellipses that take them tens of thousands of years to complete. And every single one of them is leaning the same way, pointing in the same direction, tilted at the same angle. The odds of this happening by chance? Less than 1 in 10,000. Something out there is hurting them. A massive, invisible shepherd, locked in a slow, ancient dance with the outer solar system. Batygin and Brown ran the calculations. Then they ran them again. The answer kept coming back the same. A planet, roughly 5 to 10 times the mass of Earth, orbiting the Sun at a distance of 400 to 800 astronomical units. That is roughly 20 times farther than Neptune. It would take this planet between 10,000 and 20,000 years to make a single trip around the Sun. And if it exists, it has been there since before life crawled out of the oceans on Earth. So why can we not see it? The answer is sobering. At that distance, sunlight is roughly 40,000 times weaker than what reaches Earth. A planet out there would not glow. It would not reflect. It would be a frozen, almost invisible smear against a backdrop of stars, drifting at less than 1 mile per second across the night sky. The world's most powerful telescopes have been searching for nearly a decade. Subaru, Pan-STARRS, the Zwicky Transient Facility. Astronomers have combed through tens of thousands of square degrees of sky. And so far, nothing. But here is what makes this hunt so unsettling. The areas where Planet 9 is most likely to be hiding are the parts of the sky we cannot easily search. Regions choked with the bright dust of the Milky Way. Areas only visible from the southern hemisphere during certain months. Patches obscured by satellite trails and galactic glare. It is not that Planet 9 is impossible to find. It is that the universe itself seems to be hiding it from us. But in 2024, that began to change. A new generation of survey telescopes came online. The Vera Rubin Observatory in Chile, the largest digital camera ever built, a machine designed for one specific purpose: to map the entire southern sky every 3 nights in unprecedented detail for 10 straight years. And buried in its first wave of data, something started to emerge. Here is where the story gets strange, because Planet 9, if it exists, may not be a planet at all. In 2019, 2 physicists proposed an alternative explanation. What if the object pulling on the Kuiper Belt was not a planet, but a primordial black hole? A relic from the earliest moments of the universe, a dense fossil of compressed gravity, no larger than a grapefruit. captured by our solar system billions of years ago, drifting in silence at the edge of everything we know. It would be invisible, undetectable by light, and it would explain everything. But it gets stranger. Other researchers have suggested Planet 9 could be a rogue planet, a world ejected from another star system, drifting alone through interstellar space until our sun's gravity caught it. Or it could be a captured exoplanet, a world that formed somewhere else entirely, around another star, and was stolen by our sun in a close encounter 4 billion years ago. If that is true, then somewhere out there, in the cold and the dark, is a world that does not belong to us. A world with a different origin, a different chemistry, a different story, a piece of another solar system hiding in our own. And we are about to find it. In the last 2 years, the case for Planet 9 has only grown stronger. A team led by astronomer Scott Shepard discovered a new trans-neptunian object with an orbit so extreme, so perfectly aligned with the predicted gravitational pull of Planet 9, that the chances of it being a coincidence have dropped to nearly zero. Then, in early 2025, researchers using archival data from an old infrared survey identified a faint, slow-moving object in the predicted region. Its position, its motion, its temperature, all consistent with what Planet 9 should look like. It has not been confirmed. The object may yet turn out to be something else. A distant dwarf planet, a glitch in the data, an instrumental artifact. But for the first time in a decade of searching, astronomers have a candidate. A single, faint smudge in the dark, a point of cold light, drifting at the edge of the solar system, where nothing should be drifting at all. If this is Planet 9, the implications are staggering. It would be the first new planet discovered in our solar system since Neptune was found in 1846. It would rewrite the textbooks. It would force us to redraw the maps of our own cosmic neighborhood. But there is something else. Something the headlines are not telling you. If Planet 9 exists, and it has been gravitationally shepherding the Kuiper Belt for billions of years, then it has done more than just pull on a few distant rocks. It has shaped the architecture of our entire outer solar system. It may have influenced the orbits of comets that crashed into Earth in the distant past. It may have delivered the building blocks of life. It may have caused the extinction events that wiped out species long before the dinosaurs ever existed. Planet 9 is not just an undiscovered world. It may be the silent, invisible hand that shaped everything we are. And in the next few years, as the Vera Rubin Observatory completes its first full survey of the sky, we may finally see it for the first time. A frozen, ancient world, bigger than Earth, older than life, waiting at the edge of the void. If you made it this far, you already know there is more out there than we are being told. This is just the beginning. Subscribe to Beyond the Void for the stories most channels are too afraid to tell. Stories about the things hiding in the dark spaces between worlds. Next week, we go further. We follow Voyager 1 into interstellar space, and we ask the question NASA has been quietly avoiding. What did it find out there before it went silent?